somebody on top
Yeah.
of it.
With this much
Just had one
information.
go, about 60 million. And the number of times that you
17th, right? 17th day.
it always stayed about 60 minutes. To be honest, the price didn't change, but what
I
they
can
wanted.
fill that out if you want.
Oh,
You can just sign
fantastic.
it.
Sign here.
Hold back or carry back a note. It was a dad and two kids, not
Welcome
kids.
aboard.
Thank you very much.
The
I
dad
appreciate it.
was all the way out, for the two kids, I think, ended up with 10% apiece, which I think they're gonna get paid twice, to be honest. But they got a pretty nice payout from, they'll stay, in the- it keeps them, it's a catch 22. I mean, to have them walk away. Walk away. But if they've got a piece of it, then I would best keep it rolling. I don't know, they'll kill themselves over the thing, but these
Do you
guys are
solemnly
coming
swear to
in.
give your next paycheck to Kelly
You look good. They don't want general.
You do too.
Saw you pushing the post.
Kind of run through some of the crowds. You actually look like a friend of mine who lives in Denver.
You feel a little
Tim.
bad for some employees.
Well, I'm Jim, so it's close enough.
That's pretty close.
People had some key people that they actually went out of their way to pay. Which,
What area does that you?
Well, we just moved out to Forestell.
Oh,
I've been in Welton Spring for 17, 18 years. 43 years. And we bought a place out here. Right out of college. A year and a half ago. Took the money.
and again,
So we're fixing
if
it.
they just get.
An old estate.
Who are interested.
And,
Then.
and we're
they can-
assimilating
They need a deal.
out there
They need
now.
a transaction.
And we're finally selling the
You know what I'm
place.
saying?
Yeah.
I mean.
How about
I'm not
you?
saying that we
We've
take
been out
this, I
here
mean, but
13 years. We're in Lake St. Louis.
Yeah.
a lot of times they're these
That's my
funds or
daughter.
whatever, and they got the money set, they're all kind of a good chunk of it.
Right here on this.
Yeah.
And one of my sons, he's a real estate trust. Completely
This one,
retail.
every
Oh, yeah.
2
And they
years,
sold it
start to
right away.
finish.
Sure.
and
Took it from
all the
us.
legal
Oh, nice.
process.
So
Every time they push
he's
that,
on 3 acres down there. So yeah, it's
and again, they did.
Slow exodus from us. I was born and raised out here. And then my wife and I lived in St. Louis County for a while.
And then the son finds a
And
company.
kind of slowly notching it out, you know.
yeah. I was born and raised down in the city. We lived, ex-wife, I think, since his passed, but we lived in Chesterfield.
Kelly, we ready? Are you recording or?
And moved out here 13 years ago.
Just check before we start so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt.
Again,
Yeah, straight up.
still. Okay, got 4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get the meeting started. I'll call it to order. We'll do a roll call. Mike Steiniger. Here. Rick Masterson. Cindy Fox Griffey.
Here.
Debbie Haley.
Here.
Matt Johanneson's here. Dick Ruffcar. Dan Coons.
Here.
Bob Schmidt. Here. James Tonani.
Here.
Mike Bowie.
Here.
Brian Pudman. Scott Kochmeyer. Oh, thank you, Brian. Got it. Scott Kochmeyer. Here. Very good. Obviously, you see we've got a new member, so we welcome Mike Bowie. Mike, you want to say a couple things, or?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. Welcome. Love all the smiles.
Very good. Welcome. About 2-3 years, all the acronyms will settle in, and you'll be just fine. So
That sounds
don't worry
good.
about it.
Right at the end of my term.
There you go. At this time, we'll open public comment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can I speak?
Sure, 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, members of the county board. My name is John D. Espino, State County Public Advocate. And I just wanted to talk about the application rounds in the next few months. And I'd like the commissioners of the board to keep in mind that we really need to concentrate and home in on the I-70 expansion from Winslow to our county line in the city of Forestell. Now is the time and the opportunity to concentrate and hold our money together to improve I-70 interchanges between Winslow and Forestell and that corridor in the surrounding neighborhoods that hook up to Interstate 70. So I'd like to see that in conjunction with MoDOT's releasing and probably signing their contract in December of this year or January of 2025. Also, I'd like the road board to keep in mind the inflation costs and especially the overages of some of these projects. The overages are really no excuse. They should have been budgeted more properly and more professionally. And for municipalities to come back and rely on the road board to give them a free pass and to authorize additional spending is not good for the overall county road board budget or the overall policy and promulgated rules of the county road board. So any amount of budget projects, I think should fall back on and be paid for by that municipality or that sponsor. Those are my comments, Mr. Chairman, and I look forward to hearing from the proposals from the many municipalities this month and also in the month of May. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Hearing none, we'll close public comment. So this evening, we're going to do the 2025 through 27 TIP applications. We'll do about half or so of the municipalities tonight and half next month. So why don't we get started with the city of Dardenne Prairie.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess is the, there we go. And I can just click on this here or go in advance. Okay. All right, we'll give it a shot. You want,
If you'll click down here.
I'll let you, you can assist me. Okay. All right, again, welcome. So we, City of Dardenne Prairie, we've prioritized our projects. Henning Road TAP grant. So obviously you all know this is a new category for the road board to help with pedestrian movement. We worked very closely with Sarah at St. Charles County and Amanda on all projects, but especially on this one. We already have a federal project grant in hand, and we're asking for additional help on the match because there originally was no match on the county road board on this category. So we're asking for help on part of the match. We're also identified if we're working on the pedestrian going over the bridge, we've added in to that a bridge resurfacing similar to what MoDOT's been using on their bridge decks, which is a very good process. And this will include the pedestrian path for that. So some of the features that we have here, reasons why, the existing conditions, there's somewhat of a path there. We're going to need to enhance it, obviously, widen it, make consistencies is the goal here. We are going to be using the bridge deck itself at the existing bridge deck, so we cannot make that 10 foot. We have to keep the portion going over the bridge deck at 8 foot. Okay. All right. Might have to stay here. So again, we have also included in the federal grant, at the suggestion of Sarah, some of these features. The first one I talked about, the bridge deck and the bike path resurfacing, needs new pavement markings, and also, in addition, high visibility crosswalks, some rapid flashing beacons. And again, the biggest part of it is to get consistency on the trail. We're going to utilize an overlay system to keep costs down. We're not proposing building new concrete or anything. That would try to use as much of the existing trail as we possibly can for our efficiencies. There will be a small amount of right-of-way up towards the John Weldon School. And a lot of that is to be determined, as you all know, once you get into the design process. And that just shows a kind of a typical section. And we can go to, we have prepared the plans. It runs from Bates Road all the way to Weldon Spring. So it's a major thoroughfare for pedestrian movement and connects very importantly to the trail system and to the park there at the Darden, at the Greenway and the, right through there, Darden Creek Greenway area. And again, all the way up. At some point, future improvements to Weldon Spring, but this is the connection on Henning, the TAP grant. And there's the numbers. Any questions on Henning? I'll move into our second priority, which is a continuation of phase 1. That's getting ready to start the engineering phase. This is phase 2. Again, in coordination with Amanda and Sarah, we've done some good work as far as looking for opportunities for safety, pedestrian movement. There is and will continue a trail on the west side. Here's the existing conditions. Pavement distress, but the big thing about this is sight distance issues, pavement itself, renovation. There's no control on the water, curb and gutter. So there will be, again, continuing a phase 2, extending a small box culvert along and heading up, and you can see in the very top left there, you can see the church of ICD. So it's a very important connection for Darden Prairie and the county. And here are some of the improvements. Lighting improvements, curb and gutter, 10-foot wide shared path with new reflective markings, and sewers, new surface. Typical section that was done in coordination with Amanda and Sarah, as I said earlier. We have prepared preliminary drawings. Again, this will be leaving off from the, basically from Town Square Boulevard up near ICD, and then to the south where we connect to the improvements that will be from phase 1. And here are the numbers. We maxed out the federal ask at the 1.3, and then this is our proposed share system on phase 2. This is really, the share percentages is nearly identical to what we did on phase 1. But we did max out the federal share, actually on Henning as well. So Henning, Post Road phase 2, and you'll see we're doing the same thing on the next project, which is Bates Road. A little bit simpler of a project, mostly a mill overlay and some, again, pedestrian movements, working with staff. We're going to be utilizing some bike lanes because we have some width there that is not really being utilized, so we're going to be using the bike lane system on this one. And again, condition is, by the time we're ready for construction, it's going to be more distressed than, as you can see now. So there's a couple different pavement sections on this. There's the concrete curb and gutter, which we're only going to do minor replacement on that curb and gutter. We're going to mill new surface, provide new bike lanes, etc. And then on the side, on the end that connects into McClure, there'll be a lot of slab replacement that has cracked. And then, of course, pedestrian and bicycle movements. High visibility crosswalks. Here's a typical section. Again, no right-of-way needed on this project, which is good. Typical section. And we did lay out the bike lanes. They're a little faint on there. It's the white line on the edges, both directions to be a bike lane. Any sewer lids that need to be replaced or any of the actual sidewalk that needs to be replaced will be replaced as well. But the bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes will serve as, and this is part of the Gateway plan, pedestrian plan. And you'll see soon in the concrete section, you can see there's quite a bit of slabs that have failed, and that's right there at Some people still think that might be McClure, but that's actually part of Bates until you get down to Henning. Then it changes to McClure. A little bit of an odd street naming situation. But again, this is to keep this very vital connection viable and up to date, and it's more of a renovation, replacement, preservation than anything new. Questions?
So the federal funds on all three of these are applied for or already?
Yeah, so Bates Road has been applied for this February. And again, we maxed out the federal share at close to 1.3 million to gain the maximum points we could for the cost portion. Same way with Post Road, we applied in March, and we did not, in February. Henning Road, we had already secured last year.
Okay.
So this is just asking for the new category that you all created to help share the costs on the TAP grant.
Thank you. Other questions? Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is the City of Flint Hill.
I'm still here.
Oh. Change your shirt or?
I do have a hat I can spin around. So we're also proud to say we represent the City of Flint Hill besides the City of Garden Prairie. I didn't say my name. I have Tom Weiss with Weiss Design Group and Lindsay Weiss Smith. She's our president of our company. City of Flint Hill. This is more of an intersection improvement only. We did not ask for federal funds because it's a smaller project. However, this kind of just came to light through the city. There are two representatives from the City of Flint Hill here, city administrator and one of the aldermen. They're sitting right back here, Dennis and Chris. And so what we have here is a safety issue. Highway P connects to Mexico right there, and it's very narrow. And you want to go to the next slide? So the center picture says a lot. With a high-centered school bus that had trouble making the turn. And as you can see, it wasn't even really a bad weather day, but I can tell you, I'm sure these bus drivers are nervous every time they have to make these turning movements both in and out. Also, larger vehicles coming out of Mexico onto P. So, again, radius widening, and you'll see in a minute our rough conceptual sketch of what it could and should be. We do have the support of MoDOT. They have sent us a letter that's been turned in. Again, we're just turning this in to you all directly, and you'll see why further in a minute. Again, increase the radiuses from 20-foot radiuses to 50-foot radiuses and repave the certain area and add some lighting, etc. Here's a rough layout of how far out of whack it is. The cross-hatched areas are actually the new pavement, if you can see that. And we did do auto turn movements where you can see that the tracking of the tires work when you, the green is how, and we, even leaving Mexico Road turning right on P, unless we made these improvements on the right side, that we would still put vehicles out into the oncoming lane. So besides that bus picture that you saw there, there's another movement that is very dangerous, and that's making the right turn, where right now they have to swing out into the oncoming traffic. And we've all seen that on rural style roads that are being used as almost becoming more urbanized. So this is that layout, and then here's our budget. We're hoping to get good cooperation from have been told, the city administrator, Dennis is here, that the right-of-way should be able to be acquired to do this from the adjacent property owners, and he's nodding his head that we're hopeful for that. And here's our budget. Again, we're just improving that one side. And we're setting the table with a little additional right-of-way in that area as well, not just to do these improvements. We're hoping that in the future, they will apply for some improvement grants through East-West Gateway on the actual improvement along P, with sidewalks and some other improvements and paving improvements. And that's to be determined down the road. But this solves a more immediate problem, and we're hoping for your support.
Questions?
You said one side, which side?
When I meant, if you could go back to that drawing, we're just proposing to improve that the side of the T that is, in other words, we're not going across and making major improvements to P. We're just focusing on the entrance and exit onto Mexico Road.
Got it.
Thank you.
You want to do Wentzville while you're up here, or you want to?
Well, I don't want to.
No contract, probably, okay, well,
I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
City of Wentzville?
Yeah, if he's gonna get all of the grants, he can stop. I'll make sure I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
Yeah, down here. And this and that. Or I can use the other. It's like magic. All right. Nice. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Well, I'm getting the royal treatment, so I appreciate that. Well, my name is Matt Wahlberg. I'm from the city of Wentzville. We have two applications here, two very different applications. Our first one here is really a pavement maintenance project for Wentzville Parkway and Westmeyer Road. These are both 5-lane concrete streets. Some of that pavement has been there for 30 years. It's been added on to and certainly driven on a lot, and it is deteriorating quite a bit. In all, the project limits are about 2 miles. It really stretches from just north of Highway 70 up to really close to the Wentzville City Hall, and then just the adjacent part of Westmeyer. As I mentioned, the pavement is getting old. Just all the private work and public work along the sides to bring it from its original state to the 5-lane cross-section, and then just the thousands of cars a day and really just taking its toll. It's gotten to be a pretty rough ride, and our public works crews are just, the asphalt patching is nonstop. And it really is a terrible place to do any sort of patching work. So we're looking at no longer temporary fixes. I think we've gotten our life out of those, or maybe we've gone past the life of those, and now we're looking at actual slab replacement. So pictures don't do a whole lot of justice, but we have these broken slabs where the longitudinal crack just keeps on going, and sometimes it's not really a matter of when you stand out there, where do you start doing work? It's where can you actually stop? So this is pretty pervasive, especially in that southern part of Wentzville Parkway, and then the joints. You can see the multiple layers of patching. We're patching on patches. There's not much more we can do, but what all this adds up to is that we're looking at a slab replacement of about 15% of the street. And that is quite a bit. And on top of that slab replacement, another 250 or so joints to be replaced. And at the request of the county, they were actually St. Charles County was looking at this section of Wentzville Parkway for some signal safety upgrades. They're looking at an application, an SCP application for that this round, and we've incorporated that work into our application. So it's in our STP application as well. So we have asked for just shy of 50% from federal government for this project. We're asking to split that other half with the county, more or less a 30-20 split. I think that's it for me for Wentzville Parkway. Do you have any questions on that? Of the two projects, that's the less exciting one. Well, I guess from a maintenance standpoint,
We think Fed funds are exciting.
well, I would love to get it. That is one of those projects that is kind of boring, but if you're not out there patching, our public works crews would absolutely love this, and the drivers too, once it's actually smooth. So yeah, and this is by far the bigger application here. So instead of maintaining a roadway that's been there for a while, we're looking at finishing off the first half of David Hochul Parkway, building that brand new road, about 3 miles of it, stretching from Westmeyer Road up to intersect at Piney Road. So this project has evolved a little bit over the past year. That might be an understatement, but a year ago there was a county project and a city project. And after working with the county, those two became one project as Phase 3, and the city's managing that. The county is already helping to fund the design and right-of-way phases, so this application is only for the construction phase. This is at the bottom here is a typical section from our public information meeting on the project. We would look to build that more or less the east or south half, depending on where you are on the project. Build 2 lanes of the road and a 10-foot multi-use path, and eventually, as the demand and the traffic grow, we would build out that full 4-lane cross section. There's some pretty challenging terrain for part of this. Some of it is relatively easy, but we do have a couple creek crossings and quite a bit of change in terrain. So that northern section is going to be a little difficult. But we are looking at street lighting along the length of the project, and introducing signals at the intersections, at the primary intersections along the project. And I think this is where the project gets to be a lot more significant. The other is really the request, the previous phases of the project, or the current ones, the design and right-of-way, have that 90-10 split. I have the wrong number there in the total cost for the city. It's actually supposed to be 4, but the math is pretty easy there. So sorry about that. It's not meant to slight our participation there, but it is it's a big roadway expansion, and that we feel this would cover it. The request about a year ago was to try to finish this road by the end of 2026. That is still a goal, and hopefully we can achieve that. We've certainly made some good progress so far. And as you can see in the application, we have that conceptual plan and have that public information meeting. We have an excellent design team, and they are making good progress. But, I think if you have any questions about the project, or I guess either one of the projects, be happy to try to answer those.
Wish Amanda was here. This may be our largest. That Phase 3 of Page was only 25 million, I think, our portion. So, and in that day, that was about our whole budget, but
Yeah.
And this is spread out over a couple of years, I see, but
So I have one point. In light of what's happened these past 2 years with the transition from design to construction, and Wentzville having a unique project last year that we dealt with the upcharges on the project, have you revisited your budget and have these numbers been updated? Or are we dealing with numbers that are a year old?
We looked at this budget really at the time of the application, so yeah, these aren't a year old, but we are working off of really concept plans here in a design that is still really in progress. So yeah, I think there is a certain amount of trying to be conservative with this figure because we don't. Well, I guess responsibly conservative with the budget for the project. There are some pretty big unknowns, especially as we cross some of those creeks, and some of those costs could be quite different depending on how we address that. But I guess to the main question, we've tried to make this cost estimate as up to date as possible.
you've got a $10 million contingency and a 2.8 million figure in for inflation.
Correct.
So your idea right now is you're at 27 million in construction cost without the, obviously we understand there needs to be a contingency and that type thing, but
Right.
that's a 25% contingency
Correct.
on
And
an awfully big number.
it is, and at that north end of the project, we end up crossing. Go back to. Oh, this isn't going to do it too much justice, but is that it? Right about here, we cross a tributary to McCoy Creek, and you basically, I don't want to say you just jump out, you go off a cliff, but you come down pretty hard. The environmental assessment had the alignment for that to go up through several of the properties to the north. If we can have less impact on those properties if we more or less go straight, and that might end up being, instead of a culvert, it might be a bridge. I mean, I think that's where you start getting those contingency factors that are pretty significant. So if this creek crossing here becomes a bridge, then it's just a much different cost than trying to put a culvert through there. But there's a lot of floodplain and floodway considerations to try to manage there. And with it being a pretty rapid schedule, we're trying to make sure that we have what we need in place to try to meet that construction timeline of trying to have it open in 2.5 years. So maybe I should have had asked Weiss to present this instead of me.
I gave it to him, it's fine, don't worry about it.
So, no, but it does, so that we would still need to have a lot of close coordination with the county. There are there are city parcels along this route, there are county parcels along the route. In that regard, it's not all that different than a lot of other projects where it kind of passes through the borderline, so to speak, between county and city. With this project, if you look back to the original studies for David Hochul Parkway, the initial schedule had the completion, I think it was sometime in the 2030s. So the completion of this project would essentially bring that at least get pretty close to be a decade ahead of schedule.
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
We'll move on to the City of Lake St. Louis.
Hi, my name is Terry Rigdon with the City of Lake St. Louis. I'm Public Works Director. Thank you, Board, for seeing us today and hearing about our applications. Giving us an opportunity to present. My first slide's wrong. Fourth Road Design is not on this project for this year, so we'll skip that one. We're asking for a grant for Lake St. Louis Boulevard Phase 3 on the south side. Here's the project location. It's on Lake St. Louis Boulevard, obviously. It's down main area, but Hawk Ridge Trail here goes over to Shop at Hawk Ridge, and here's Highway N. Here's the equestrian center the county just purchased, and so we're stopping right with the equestrian center about halfway through, thinking this section here is going to be part of the Highway N improvements. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, so that's why we pulled up short a little bit here, and we'll have this little piece to blend into the future Highway N project whenever we get some preliminary plans, which I believe is supposed to be next year, within the next year. Currently, the ADT's out there about 10,000. We're getting backups at Orf Road. This is getting, Orf here is getting pretty busy. The pavement's deteriorating. We have previous phases of this project. Phase 1 and 2 have got federal money in it and county money in it. They take off from just right about here in the first 2 phases and then stop, obviously, where this project takes place. The numbers here, these 21,000, these are year 2050 from a traffic study. You have the traffic study as part of the application attachment. If you have any questions about that, let me know. It's 3 years old, I believe.
Give me 1 second, sir, actually. Just something for this.
The previous is being shown at the presentation. They're not getting Lake St. Louis online.
Just like soccer, I get my time back at the end of the game.
You want a yellow card or a red card?
That concludes my presentation.
See this.
Okay. You're good. Part of the traffic study was signal locations, future signal locations. We had done a study years ago. This is where we think the new Hawk Ridge Trail will realign with the Fremont here, which is on a previous phase. And the signal will go in there. The next signal will be here, and this is, we're thinking Wharf Road will actually come up and tie into here. We've got a design that we're working on, but we got a grant from you guys for that also. So that this will be the next signalized intersection, which may be ready for a signal by the time this project even goes into construction, so we may be able to piggyback it on it. So, while I got this slide open, you guys are aware I think there's 1,200 homes going in down here, and total, I think there's about 2,000 homes coming in right there on that old end corridor there. So there's going to be a lot more traffic that's going to come up Lake St. Louis Boulevard from in to the highway. The project consists of this, at this phase, or at this time, is putting in 3 lanes, so it'll be a 2-lane left center turn lane, and 2 full lanes, curb and gutter, and storm sewers. We're buying the right-of-way or having it dedicated for the full 5-lane ultimate improvement, which is recommended for the 2045, I think it was, traffic ADTs. We're adding bicycle and pedestrian facilities on both sides, and some medians and for traffic calming along the center to try to keep the speeds down. Buying the right-of-way we think is important right now. We'll just add 2 lanes onto the one side of the road. You'll see that on the cross section. So we'll build this piece now, this piece will come in the future. The sidewalk will actually be placed where it will be in the future, and then we'll preserve this corridor, so we don't, nothing gets put in there that we have to rip out of the right of way. Plus, it gives an expectation on the development on where they're gonna be, where their limits are. It's 6-foot sidewalk on one side, 14 and 12 foot on the other per county recommendation. Just, there was one spot we were moving it to 12 because of, to accommodate what's there. Here's the aerial, Hawk Ridge Trail taken off. Here, like I said, there's medians, these are penciled in. There's a new trailhead here, hooked into the 14-foot sidewalk that's gonna be on this side. Our shared use path is 6 foot on the west side. Continues down Orf Road, that it'll be set up for traffic signals, so it'll be designed for traffic signals won't have to be replaced when the signals come in, just install the signals. And then we cut, like I said, we pulled up short right here, and highway ends right here. So we wanted to have a transition space depending on how what that preliminary design comes in for the highway end. We asked for 80% from the feds, so we did apply for 2.8 million. We're asking for 565 from the county road board. Total project cost with estimates 3.5 million. The city 140K match. This is following the actual east-west gateway. This is probably in the federal schedule. So 25 preliminary engineering, 26, 27 right away. I'm thinking probably is what we applied for in the grant, where they were letting us move everything up. Just don't want to run out of time with the reasonable progress that they're having. So potentially we could move this up a year. And here's just kind of an overlay of kind of some of the, I put in here in case you have questions. Orf Road, here's with the future connector. So you'll have the traffic coming down here. The trail will come up to here, the existing one. We'll have the new come over to Fremont up here at a traffic signal. That's presentation.
Questions? Very good, thank you. City of St. Charles?
You know I need help. You know I need help. Oh, no. Here, sorry.
All right. Thank you for the board for allowing us to do our presentation today. I'm Jim Gillum with the City of St. Charles. I'm the assistant city engineer. I've been with the city for about 1.5 years, and I've been a resident here for about 20 years. On April 2nd, the voters passed a bond issue so that the city could build a city center complex at the old American Car and Foundry site. And one of our projects is going to be going right through the middle of that project. That's going to be the Main Street extension. That's project number 1. And we've got $2.5 million of grant funding for that already, and $300,000 from the County Road Board. We've also got a couple other projects in the vicinity. The North 2nd Street project from Clark to Bayard. We've got about $6 million there. We're doing the Frenchtown sidewalks on Olive, Decatur, and Morgan for about another $1 million. We're spending about $2.5 million for the Katy Trail improvements, paving that from the Foundry down to 70. And then we're also doing the South 2nd Street project from Boone's Lick to First Capital. So we've got about $100 million of development that we're going to be doing within the city in the very close proximity to downtown. As we stretch out a little bit, we just wanted to show what we've done in the past 5 years or so. All of the projects in blue are projects that we have built. All of the projects in green are currently in design. The projects in red are the projects that we have submitted applications for to the board. And the projects in orange are projects that we've submitted applications to East-West Gateway for grants. And then we also show the AFC City Center Complex up in the pink. Just real quick, we'd like to take credit for all the projects that we're doing, but the reality is, many years ago, people smarter than us put together a plan, and we just get to put it in motion. So most of the projects come out of the Frenchtown Great Streets report, and then the first capital project comes out of the Sustainable Gateways to the Heart of St. Charles report. And then they all touch on the bike plan from the city and the county. Our first project is the North Main Street extension. It goes from Clark Street up to Montgomery. We're putting in a new roadway, curbs and gutters. We're going to have sidewalks on both sides. We'll have parking. We're going to have enhanced lighting. We're going to have buffers between the sidewalk and the street. The financial portion, the financial ask of the board is $2.4 million. The city's going to be contributing $3.3 million, and we've already gotten $2.5 million funds from the federal government for bicycle and pedestrian. So the split will be approximately 30% county, 40% city, and 30% federal.
Is the county's 300,000 design already in? We funded that already.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. Any other questions on this project?
When will the city take ownership of that?
We're in negotiations right now for the purchase of the property. So, and I'm just the assistant city engineer. They don't ask me about those things. So, but the timeline is pretty tight, so hopefully it's pretty darn quick. We already have a consultant on board that's doing design. They're doing it for the Main Street extension and the Bayard, the Second Street from Clark to Bayard already. So hopefully we'll get pretty good looking roads between both of those two projects. All right. The next project we've got is the First Capital from 5th Street to Kings Highway. The improvements that we're going to do with this one is do a road diet to reduce it from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. We'll have a continuous left-hand turn lane all the way down there. The interesting thing is the capacity of the 3-lane configuration is almost as much as the 4-lane configuration. And this will allow us to have bike lanes on each side so that we can kind of get people from Lindenwood on the west end down to downtown on the east end. It's going to include new street lighting, ADA compliant sidewalks, crosswalks, and everything. We'll be doing a lot of repairs to the concrete streets, repairing the joints, and then have an overlay at the end. The financial ask on this for the county, it's an 80-20 split, $5.2 million from the county with 1.3 from the city for a total of 6.6. We did put in an application with East-West Gateway for this project as well. If we're able to secure that, then the ask for the county would just be a little bit over $1 million. All right, next one. All right, this is the Fringetown sidewalk improvements on Olive, Morgan, and Decatur. This is basically replacing sidewalks, ramps, adding high visibility crosswalks. There'll be a couple bulb outs to reduce speeds and improve pedestrian visibility. On Olive, it's a little bit steeper there, so there's going to be a climbing lane going up to the Boschert Trail, but otherwise it'll be pretty similar to the other streets. The city's already gotten funds for this, federal funds for this of $800,000. So the financial ask for this for the board is $222,000 for construction, and the city of St. Charles putting in $55,000. So it's a 25 and 75 split. All right, and we are moving on. All right, the next project is North 2nd Street from Bayard to Bainbridge. This is from the Fringetown Great Streets plan, and this is a continuation of the project that's currently in design from Clark Street to Bayard. This will be traffic calming, reducing lanes from 12-foot wide to 10.5-foot wide. There'll be sidewalks and parking on both sides, curb extensions, pedestrian and bicycle features, connections to both the Katy Trail and the Boschert Trail, and we're going to be reducing the speed limit from 30 to 25. The financial ask on this is another 80-20 split, $6 million from the board with $1.5 million from the city, but we did make application to this with East-West Gateway. If we were successful on that application, then the counties, then they ask for the county would be $1.2 million.
Ballpark, what was the Clark to Bayard? Was that about an $8.5 million project?
Yes. All right, we are moving on. The next one is Boonslick Road from 5th Street to Fairgrounds. This is another project where there's going to be traffic calming, where the roads are going to be, the lanes in the roads are going to be reduced from 13 to 14 feet down to 10.5 feet. There's going to be bike lanes on both sides of the road. There's going to be new sidewalks, new ramps, high visibility crosswalks. We're going to put lights on each of the Ameren poles that are out there so that we can light the street up. And then we're going to add a roundabout at Boonslick Road and Fairgrounds. Here's a conceptual drawing of that. This is pretty much the way I go to work every day. And I just come across Fairgrounds, take a ride. I've got the yield there, but traffic on there is pretty intermittent all the time. Everyone has to stop. If you've got a roundabout, pretty much everyone's going to slow down a little bit, and then they're going to get right through the intersection. It's going to really speed up the efficiency. There's another roundabout north of here, and then there's another, west of here, and another one south of here. The financial ask on this for the county is $3.2 million. It's an 80-20 split with $800,000 from the city. We will be doing sanitary and water work at the same time. We'll be paying for all of those improvements through our capital improvement program. All right, and we are moving on. Last project. This is the Truman floodproofing project. It's a stormwater project, and this is the county road board. I understand the may not fit, but some time ago there was a project to raise Truman Boulevard to prevent flooding of the properties to the west. For whatever reason, that didn't come to fruition. So what we're looking at is, between the two bubbles there, is Sanford Creek. What we're looking at is on the bottom one. Right now, there's a minor creek that flows into Sanford Creek there. We want to build up the levee there, regrade it so that it flows to the west and then up to the north. And then on the top bubble, we would install a culvert and a pump station. Whenever the Mississippi is down, the culvert would have gates open at the end of the pump station. It's kind of a culvert pump station combination. And if there's a rain event, stormwater just goes right through the culvert. If the river is up, then the gates will close, and then stormwater will go into the forebay of the pump station, and they'll get pumped over the levee. This is less expensive than the road project, and it ends up protecting an additional 100 acres.
So St. Peter's didn't do a flood mitigation up on Truman? I thought they had talked about a pump and all that, but it was kind of interesting whether it would work or not, and they kind of even talked about not coming back for future funding if that experiment didn't work, I think. But I think that was the city of St. Peter's, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think St. Charles and St. Peter's had tried to work the road project before, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. So the financial ask on this is $3.2 million, with the city contributing $800,000, so it's about a 74-26 split. Does anybody have any questions on this one? All right, that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. City of St. Paul?
Thank you, members of the board, for allowing us to submit. My name's John Choinka, Choinka Municipal Services. I'm here with Mayor Bauer. He's the mayor of City of St. Paul. What we're proposing today, and I apologize, we don't have a PowerPoint. Last time we submitted, it was in a small room over in the administrative building, and nobody had PowerPoint. So this is our first time back since then. So I apologize about that. I do have a couple handouts here, just general location and a more detailed location that Oh, okay, great, perfect. That's exactly what I have here. Okay, thank you very much. So, so there's the general location. It's right by the St. Paul Church in St. Paul. Let me see here. Well, I don't have a map here of the actual more specific location, but it's about 900 feet south of Church Street, just south of the cemetery of St. Paul Cemetery there. So that's basically the location. It is the main access from the south into the main heart of the city. So we anticipate having the road closed to speed up the construction costs. So there will be a relatively lengthy detour at some point once we get to construction. The condition of the existing bridge. This is a bridge project, so the condition of the existing bridge is on MoDOT's deficient list. So I think there's probably about 40 bridges that are on that list right now, and this is one of them. So we have the original bridge. The existing bridge was constructed in 1940. You'll see if you look at the BEEP report that MoDOT did, or not the BEEP report, but the MoDOT inspection report indicates that it was reconstructed in 2009. The reconstruction consisted of redoing the surface on the bridge. So where it's really deteriorating is underneath is the structure itself, not the driving path. So we, obviously MoDOT believes it needs to be reconstructed. The deficiencies are regarding the structure, the beam, corrosion, and corrosion of the concrete underneath on the walls. The funding, we have secured, funds have been obligated by the federal government through MoDOT for $827 $100,000 roughly. That's there. We are requesting roughly $157,000 from the county and the city, which is the funding that we received through MoDOT is 80%. So the rest would fall between the county and the city. The county's portion we're requesting is $157,000, and the city's portion would be somewhere around $50,000. So we have included in there, we have the contingency funds and inflation funds throughout the process from when we submitted to MoDOT originally. So the structure itself will be generally the same size. We're looking at the possibility of doing an arch structure, depending on the cost. So that's one of the things we're going to look at in the preliminary phase. We are currently under design. We anticipate that being completed at the end of this year and having a public meeting sometime this summer and moving on with right-of-way in next year. Construction would be scheduled in the following year in 2025. So there's the cost estimate. It's basically the funds that we have secured, like I mentioned, from the federal government. The total project costs are $1.034 million. Let me see what else I have here. Currently under design, and that is pretty much everything that I have, unless you have any questions regarding the project.
Questions? Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any new business this evening? So our next meeting will be on May 15th. I assume we'll meet here again, Kelly? Yep. And so we'll basically do the remaining municipalities for their applications and then pursue work sessions and that after that. So. Any other business for this evening? If not, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.